Something happened after the Hungarian Grand Prix that could reshape the Formula One grid, and the first clues appeared on the very same day. On July 26, 2026, Formula One and the Cadillac Formula One team were both linked to a story claiming that drivers had made a major announcement. But the available source leaves out the one detail everyone needs to know. What did they actually announce? No driver names, no direct quotes, no confirmed explanation. Just a claim that whatever was said could change everything. And that creates a much bigger mystery. Was this about the future driver market, a growing dispute after Hungary, or a decision capable of shifting the balance of power before the next race? Because when drivers speak immediately after a Grand Prix, every word matters. Careers can move, team plans can collapse, and one announcement can force the entire paddock to react. But before anyone accepts the headline, we need to uncover what was truly said, who said it, and why the timing after Hungary could be the most important clue of all. Subscribe to the channel. The timing is the first clue. The available source points to Formula One and the Cadillac Formula One team on July 26, 2026, immediately after the Hungarian Grand Prix. But it does not include the announcement itself, the names of the drivers involved, or any direct statement explaining what changed. That absence matters. Because in Formula One, the hours after a Grand Prix are rarely quiet. Drivers speak to their teams. Managers begin private conversations. Contracts are discussed. Future plans move from whispers to decisions. And one carefully chosen sentence can reveal far more than an entire weekend of rumors. But Hungary creates a special kind of pressure. The race arrives at a point where teams are no longer judging only one performance, they are studying patterns. Who is improving? Who is losing confidence? Which partnership is working? Which one is beginning to break? A difficult race can be forgiven. A repeated problem cannot. That is why an announcement after Hungary can feel much bigger than an ordinary interview. It may reflect weeks of frustration, months of negotiation, or a decision that was already developing long before the cars arrived at the circuit. And this is where the Cadillac connection becomes impossible to ignore. Cadillac is named as one of the two references in the source. That does not prove the announcement concerned a driver signing, a contract, or the future grid. The source gives no such confirmation. But it does place Cadillac beside Formula One on the same date. And that creates a serious question. Was the announcement connected to the sport's changing competitive landscape? Because a new Formula One project does not only need a car, it needs drivers. Not simply fast drivers, drivers who can build, drivers who can explain what the car is doing, drivers who can survive difficult weekends without losing direction. And most importantly, drivers whose decisions can influence the rest of the grid. Think of the driver market like a row of locked doors. One driver moves and one door opens. Another seat becomes available. A team changes its priorities. A reserve driver suddenly sees an opportunity. A veteran begins reconsidering his future. One announcement can trigger several more. That is why the first move is often more important than the final lineup. But the available source does not tell us whether any move was actually announced. It does not confirm a signing. It does not confirm a departure. It does not confirm a retirement. And it does not confirm that the story was about contracts at all. So the real focus has to remain on what is known. Something was presented as a major driver announcement after the Hungarian Grand Prix. Formula One and Cadillac were both linked to the source. And the central details were left out. That creates two possible explanations. The announcement may have been genuinely important with the missing details removed from the attached material. Or the headline may be stronger than the information behind it. Both possibilities matter. Because if the announcement was real, the consequences could spread quickly. Teams would begin protecting their options. Drivers would speak with their representatives. Negotiations that appeared stable could suddenly accelerate. And a seat that looked secure could become uncertain overnight. But if the announcement was exaggerated, then the story becomes a warning about how Formula One rumors are created. A dramatic phrase appears. A famous team name is attached. The timing feels important, and fans begin filling the missing space with assumptions. That is how speculation becomes accepted as fact. Not because the evidence is strong, because the mystery is irresistible. And Formula One is especially vulnerable to that cycle. The paddock is built on competition, but also secrecy. Teams rarely reveal every plan. Drivers rarely explain every negotiation. Managers protect leverage. Executives choose their words carefully. So when information is missing, people naturally search for meaning. A short answer becomes a clue. A smile becomes a message. A refusal to comment becomes confirmation. But sometimes, silence is only silence. That is why the exact words matter. What was announced? Was it said by one driver or several? Was it an official decision, a personal intention, or a reaction to the Hungarian Grand Prix? Did Cadillac confirm anything? Did Formula One publish a statement? Without those answers, the scale of the story cannot be measured. But here is what makes the timing so powerful. The Hungarian Grand Prix can expose problems that are easy to hide elsewhere. The circuit demands patience, balance, and confidence. A driver who feels connected to the car can build rhythm. A driver who does not can spend the entire race fighting small problems that become larger with every lap. That kind of weekend can force difficult conversations, not because one result decides a career, but because one result can confirm what people already feared. A driver may realize the relationship with the car is not improving. A team may decide patience has reached its limit. A rival project may suddenly look more attractive. And a private discussion can become a public announcement faster than anyone expects. Again, the source does not confirm that this happened, but it explains why the period after Hungary carries so much weight. Every driver is being judged. Every team is measuring progress. And every future seat is connected to another decision somewhere else on the grid. That connection is where the story becomes larger. Suppose one experienced driver became available. A developing team might see leadership. A rival team might see stability. A younger driver might suddenly lose an opportunity. A current driver might face pressure before the next race even begins. One name can affect half the paddock. Not because every team wants the same person, because every move changes the available choices. And choices create leverage. A driver with two possible destinations can demand more. A team with several candidates can wait. A team with no alternatives must act. That is why announcements are rarely isolated. They are signals. Signals to other drivers. Signals to sponsors. Signals to team staff. And sometimes, signals to competitors who were not supposed to know the plan yet. But there is another possibility. The announcement may not have been about the driver market at all. It could have concerned safety, rules, race conditions, or a shared position from drivers after the Hungarian Grand Prix. The source does not provide enough information to choose between those possibilities. And that uncertainty changes how the headline should be understood. The phrase changes everything sounds final. The evidence is not. Right now, we have the promise of a major development without the words that would prove it. That is the tension at the center of this story. Because Formula One is not only shaped by what happens on the circuit, it is shaped by what drivers are willing to say after the pressure ends. A public statement can challenge a team. A joint announcement can place pressure on officials. A future decision can alter the grid. And one unexpected name can force every rival to rethink its plans. But until the actual announcement appears, one question remains open. Did the drivers reveal something capable of changing Formula One? Or did the headline create a revolution that the source itself never proves? The answer depends on the missing statement. And that statement is the one piece that could connect Hungary, Cadillac and the future of the grid. And this is where the Cadillac connection becomes far more important. Not because the source confirms a driver signing. It does not. Not because it confirms a contract announcement. It does not confirm that either. The importance comes from timing, pressure, and what a new Formula One project represents to every driver already on the grid. A new team creates something rare. A new destination. Formula One seats are normally locked inside a closed system. One driver leaves, another moves, and the same limited number of opportunities are passed around the paddock. But a new project can change that balance. It can create space where no space existed before. It can offer an experienced driver a fresh beginning. It can give a younger driver an opportunity that seemed impossible. And it can force current teams to make decisions earlier than they wanted. That sounds like good news for drivers. But it also creates pressure. Because the moment another serious option appears, every relationship is tested. A driver who once had nowhere else to go may suddenly have leverage. A team that believed it controlled the negotiation may lose that control. A contract that looks secure may begin to feel temporary. And a quiet disagreement after Hungary can become the first sign of something much larger. But there is still a missing piece. The source does not tell us whether any driver actually connected himself to Cadillac. It does not reveal a confirmed lineup. It does not include an official quote from a driver. So the announcement itself remains unknown. That means we cannot claim that a move happened. We can only examine why the connection would matter so much if the missing statement concerned the future grid. And this is where experience becomes valuable. A new Formula One team does not only need someone capable of driving quickly. Speed is essential, but speed alone does not build a project. The team needs a driver who can help identify problems. Someone who can explain why the car behaves differently from one corner to another. Someone who can remain clear when the results are disappointing. Someone who understands how a winning organization should operate. Think of building a house with tools you have never used before. You can hire the fastest worker available. But if that person cannot explain why the walls are uneven, the speed does not solve the problem. A new team needs direction. And experienced drivers carry information that cannot be learned from a simulator alone. They understand how a race weekend changes from the first practice session to qualifying. They know when a setup problem is real and when the track simply needs more rubber. They know how pressure changes communication. They know which small issues can become serious problems later. That knowledge can save months. Sometimes it can save an entire season. But experience creates another challenge. An established driver may not want to spend years waiting for a new project to become competitive. He may want immediate results. He may want proof that the leadership is serious. He may want guarantees about resources, development, and long-term ambition. And those demands can shape every negotiation. A young driver faces a different choice. Joining a new team may offer freedom and opportunity, but it may also carry enormous risk. A difficult first season can damage confidence. Poor results can hide strong performances. And a promising career can become associated with a car that is not yet ready. So, when drivers speak about their futures, they are not simply choosing a seat. They are choosing which risks they are willing to accept. That is why an announcement after Hungary could change more than one career. It could reveal who believes in a new project, who has lost faith in a current one, and who is willing to leave stability for the possibility of something greater. But there is another branch to this story. The announcement may have had nothing to do with contracts. It may have involved a shared concern among drivers. And if several drivers spoke together after the Hungarian Grand Prix, the consequences could be just as significant. Drivers rarely agree on everything. They compete against one another. Their teams have different interests. One driver may benefit from a rule that harms another. One team may want change, while another wants the current system protected. So when drivers present a united position, people listen. a joint concern can place pressure on race officials. It can force teams to respond.